Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you can play a song called Already Over by Red. And it starts out with some really cool intro licks, actually, kind of with the string part. And we'll talk about where we're going to move this for key in a moment, because we're going to end up capoing on the first fret. But if you take the second fret on the high E string, and kind of play that note, and then go to third fret on the high E string, and then kind of play third fret on the high string again, and then go to second fret on the high E. That's kind of that beginning string part where you got the F sharp, G, G, F sharp. And if you wanted to, you could kind of throw in some bass notes below for the chords that are kind of implied by that string part. So you start with open E with the second fret on the high E string, and then go to third fret on the high E string, and then you can play the open D for the other third fret on the high E string, and then go back to second fret on the high E string. So we want to do, there's a cool little way to kind of do that as a two-part, kind of E and F sharp at the same time, G note on the high E string, and then open D with the G note on the high E string, and back to the F sharp on the high E string. And if you wanted to, you could even fill that in with more basses if you wanted to, kind of for effect. That might be kind of a cool way to kind of fill it in. And then there's a little piano part that comes in there too, where you play third to second on the high E string, and then go back to third fret on the high E string. And then you still do that third fret on the high E string and the second fret at the high E, or on the last part. So if you try that with your basses, you'd have the open E, 3, 2, 3, and then open D with third fret on the high string, second fret on the high string, and then open D with third fret on the high string, second fret on the high string. So it might be something else you want to kind of add in, and you could even add in the basses on that too. Kind of get like a cool little two-part. But the chords that are implied by that lick, actually, we're starting on an E minor chord. But the chords that are implied by that lick start on an E minor chord. And when we play E minor, first finger is going to go to the A string on the second fret, second finger on the D string on the second fret, and if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. And then from the E minor, we're kind of applying a D major chord by the D note that we're playing. So the way we play D major, first finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret, second finger is going to go to the high E on the second fret, and the third finger is going to go to the B string on the third fret. And if you strum just the D, G, B, and E, kind of the skinny four strings, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And so through that string part at the beginning, you could just block it, just doing downs on each chords too. E minor, ba-da-da, D major, ba-da, E minor, ba-da-da, D, da-da. But a lot of times with a song like this, I like adding something called a strum pattern to make it a little bit more interesting. And one of my favorite 4/4 strum patterns is down, down, up, up, down, up. And we'll talk about another one later on. But just to try it that way, you'd have E minor with the down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we tried that through that intro progression that kind of becomes our verse part, actually. We have E minor, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down. And then we'd be repeating that until we get to the end of that very first verse. And then there's kind of some pushes there, or we end up going to a C major chord. And the way you play C major, first finger is going to go to the B string on the first fret, second finger on the D string on the second fret, and third finger on the A string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And we kind of have a big down on the C major chord, and then we do an A minor chord. And when we play A minor, first finger and second finger are actually going to stay where they are, but first finger is on the B on the first fret, second finger on the D on the second fret, and third finger is going to go to the G string on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. So there's kind of a push at the very, very end where you go C major, A minor, and it almost sounds like there's an E minor kind of as you're waiting. And then we end up on our chorus part. And on our chorus, actually, we start on the E minor chord, but then we're going to go to a G major chord. And the way you play G major, first finger is going to actually stay on the A string second fret, so you can use that as a guide finger to it. Second finger is going to go low E on the third fret, and the third finger is going to go to the high E on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And And then from the G major, we're going to be going to a D major chord, and then doing the A minor chord, and then the C major chord. Now, the weird part about applying the strum pattern to that part actually is that A minor C at the very end is kind of halved, so they happen a little bit quicker. And so on that part, you want to just kind of half the strum pattern, so we could just do just a down, down up on both of those chords. So we'd have A minor with a down, down up, C with a down, down up when we get to that part. But just to try the chorus with the strum pattern, you have E minor, down, up, down, up, G, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, A minor, down, down, C, down, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, A minor with a down, down, C with a down, down. And in that first chorus, it sounds like it's just kind of a big down on the C chord. And then from there, we're going to be repeating a lot of the parts that we talked about until we get to our bridge part. When we get to the bridge part, we're actually going to be mixing up a lot of the things that we just talked about. And there's kind of a break at the end where we could just do downs on some chords. So on the bridge, we got C, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down. And we kind of have a big down on E minor, G, D, C, E minor, G, D, C. And then we're going back to our chorus for our outro. Now, one weird thing is to play along with red. Instead of starting on an E minor chord, they're actually starting on an F minor chord. So to play along with the recording, what you want to do is take a capo and put it on first fret. And now your E minor chord is really an F minor. Your D major is really an E flat major. And then when we get to it, the C major is really a D flat major. And the A minor is really a B flat minor. And your G major chord is really an A flat major chord. But just to take that from the very, very beginning that way, you'd have your very opening lick where you got that 2, 3, 3, 2, or if you're adding the basses to it, 2 with open E, 3, and then open D with the 3, 2, or you could fill in the basses, right? Or you can embellish it like that with that second piano part that... different ways to kind of embellish it. And then when we get to our intro, if we're just going to strum through the intro, you'd have the E minor, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, and then we'd be on our verse part, so we'd be repeating that. So we have E minor, down, up, down, D, down, 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 E minor, down, 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 D, down, 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 E minor, down, 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 D, down, 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 E minor, down, down, D, down, down, big C, big A minor, big E minor, and then we got our chorus. Go to chorus, A minor, down, down, G, down, 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 D, down, 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 A minor, down, down, C, down, down, E minor, down, down, G, down, 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 D, down, down, A minor, down, down, C, down, down, a big C. And then we be back to our verse again. So we got our E minor, down, down, D, down, 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 E minor, down. It sounds like you do the C with kind of just that whole strum pattern, and then an A minor with the whole strum pattern, down, up, and another A minor, down, down, up, down, up, and then we're going back to our chorus part. So we have E minor, down, down, G, down, down, D, down, down, A minor, down, C, down, E minor, down, down, G, down, down, D, down, down, for that chorus though, it almost sounds like instead of having the C chord, you would do just a down on the C and a down on the D major chord. So if you're a little bit adventurous on that last part, you can have A minor with a down, down up C with a down, D with a down, A minor with a down, down up C with a down, D with a down, and that becomes kind of the chorus tag at the very end. So just to try that from that last E minor, you have E minor, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, B, down, down, up, down, A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down, A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down. And then we go into our bridge parts. Then we got our C, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, C, down, 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 D, down, 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 E minor, down, 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 D, down, 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 C, down, 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 D, down, 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 big E minor, big G, big D, big C, big E minor, big G, big D, big C. And then we'd be back on our chorus, but it sounds like it's really converted into that C-D change that we were talking about. So to try it that way for our outro, you have the E minor, down, down, G, down, down, D, down, 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 A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down, E minor, down, 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 G, down, down, D, down, 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 A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down, E minor, down, 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 G, down, 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 D, down, 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 A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down, E minor, down, down, G, down, 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 D, down, 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 A minor with a down, down, C with a down, D with a down, E minor, down, down, G, down, down, D with a down, 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 and we kind of have that repeated A minor CD for our chorus tag. So we got A minor, down, C, down, D, down, A minor, down, down, C, down, D, down, and then there's kind of an intro return at the very end where you could go back to just blocking the E minor and the D, or if you wanted to, you could kind of throw in those licks we were talking about. Or there are a couple other licks that kind of come in for that outro part where you could go open E with 3, 2, 3 on the high E string, and then open B, and then kind of open in the D string for the open B string, and then that kind of becomes second fret on the G string after that. So you got kind of as an outro lick, it might be kind of cool to throw in that 3, 2, 3, open B, and then open D and open B, and then second fret on the G. Might be something else you want to kind of try at the very, very end. Now, something else I would think about adding though to the song is bass notes. And a lot of times on that very first down of the down, down, up, down, up, you could throw in a bass for the chord, and that kind of simulates playing with a bass player. So on the E minor, for instance, you could do the low E string for your bass, and then do your down, up, with the strum pattern that we got right now. So E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down. And on the D chord, you can do the D string for your bass. So D with a D bass, down, down, D with a D bass, down, down, D with a D bass, down, down, And just as an aside, though, on the fourth D in the bridge, this is random. It almost sounds like there's a D/F sharp chord going on. And if you wanted to add that in, what I mean by D/F sharp is it's a D chord, but it has an F sharp in the bass. So one way to play that would be taking first finger and going low E on the second fret, second finger on the G string on the second fret, third finger on the high E on the second fret, and the pinky on the B string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a D/F sharp. Now another way you could play that chord actually is to play the D the way we were playing it and take your thumb and go over the low E string on the second fret. And if you wanted to, for basses on that chord, you do low E string for your bass for the D/F sharp. So D/F sharp with low E bass, down, up, down, D/F sharp with low E bass, down, down, D/low E bass, down, down. And then when we get to our C chord, you'd have the A string for your bass on the C chord. So C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down. And on the A minor, you'd have the A string for your bass on the A minor, A bass, down, down, and then A bass, down, down. And on the G chord, you'd have the low E string for your bass. So low E bass, down, down, G, low E bass, down, down. So we tried our verse with the basses. have E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, and then if we tried that through our chorus part, the weird part is where we're having that A minor C if we're just doing just those two chords. And on those we could actually do just a bass down up on them. So when you get to that part, you have A minor with an A bass, down up, C with an A bass, down up. So to try that through our chorus, we'd have E minor with low E bass, down up, down, G with low E bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, A minor with an A bass, down, C with an A bass, down, G with E minor with low E bass, down down, G with low E bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, A minor with an A bass, down, C with a bass, down Now if you wanted to, you could throw in that CD we were talking about and just make it an A minor with a bass, down up, C with a down, D with a down. So you still could do that if you wanted to, it's kind of the push there. But then if we tried our bridge with our basses, we'd have C with an A bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, E minor with low E bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, C with an A bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, E minor with low E bass, down down, D slash F sharp with low E bass, down down, C with an A bass, down down, D with the D bass, down down, big E minor, big G, big D, big C, big E minor, big G, big D, big C. So that might be something else you want to try. And for myself, actually, what really feels more like the recording, especially because of the drum fill, is something called a 16th note strum pattern. And right now our down, down, up is kind of dividing our beat into two parts. So we got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What a 16th note is where you divide that foot tap into 4 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I think could be a lot of fun to work with the tune is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you take the E minor and do it down for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you're doing on the first beat. On the second beat, you're doing a down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then on the third beat, you're doing up on 2, down on 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And then on the fourth beat, you're going down, up, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So all together, you got long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. So we tried that through the verse. You have E minor, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D with the down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. And then if we tried that through our chorus, we'd have E minor with down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And if you wanted to, you could just do the down, 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 up on the A minor C if you're thinking of it that way. So you could have down, 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 C to down, 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 up would be one way to do that last hit. Another way to do it, if you want to get in the D chord, would be doing the A minor with a down and then the down, down, up. And then doing the C with a down, down, up. And then the D with a down, down, up. To have a lot of energy to it. So on that part, you'd have A minor, down, down, C with a down, down, D with a down, down, up. So just to try the chorus that way, you'd have E minor, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, G down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D with a down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor with a down, 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 C with a down, down, D with a down, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C with a down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, D with a down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor with a down, 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 C with a down, down, C with a down, down, up. So that would be one way to kind of try the chorus. And then if we try that with the bridge, We got C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, E minor down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C slash sharp, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, C D, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, big E minor, big G, big D, big C. So that might be something else you want to kind of try. And if you wanted to, you could even add bass notes to the 16th note strum pattern. So on your verse that way, on that first down of the down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 you could do your bass note. So on the E minor, you got low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And if we tried that through our chorus, the weird part is where you get to that A minor C, and if you're doing just the A minor C, you do kind of the bass on the, and then kind of the down, down for those two chords. So when you get to that part, you'd have A minor with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up. So that would be one way to do it, so try it that way. You have E minor with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, A with the bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, E minor low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up. Now, if you want to get in that C D hit, one way to do that would be doing kind of a bass down up on both of those chords. So on that part, you'd have A minor with an A bass, down, down, up, C with an A bass, down, up, D with the D bass, down, up, A minor with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, up, D with the D bass, down, up. So try the chorus that way. You have E minor with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, A with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, C with the D bass, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, D with the D bass, down, up. And then if we tried that through our bridge part, you have C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with an E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D slash sharp with low E bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor, G, D, C, E minor, G, D, C. But that's the basics of how you can play through Already Over by Red, so good luck!